This is everything you need to know about the Tragedy of Julius Caesar, Act 3, Scene 2 at the Forum. Now, I'm going to divide this summary and analysis into two sections because really there's two parts to it. First part is Brutus speaking to the crowd, which are the plebeians they're called, which is the common people. And then he switches it over and hands it off to Antony. So we're going to deal with Antony in the next video. So let's start off with the forum, because remember they had just assassinated Caesar, and so there's kind of chaos outside. This supreme head leader of the country has just been assassinated. So people don't know who did it, why they did it, what to think, what's going to happen. All of these questions are unanswered. So it's pretty much in an uproar. So out in Rome, there would have to be these pulpits or these areas where people could speak and share and give news. So they're going to these pulpits where people can hear what they want to say as leaders and as assassins, right? So Brutus goes in, and Cassius, and then it says with the plebeians. So all the commoners in the area would come and gather to hear what they had to say. The plebeians say, "We will be satisfied, let us be satisfied." They want an explanation. Why did you kill our leader Caesar? Brutus says, "Follow me and give me audience, friends. Cassius, go you into the other street and part the numbers. Those that will hear me speak, let them stay here, and those that will follow Cassius, go with him. And public reasons shall be rendered." Remember, with the accent over the ed, you pronounce it. It'd be normally rendered, but Shakespeare wants to add a syllable so that there's 10 syllables in this line. So it says, "And public reasons shall be rendered of Caesar's death." So, in other words, Brutus is like, I'm going to keep some of the people in this area, and some of you go with Cassius, and we're both going to explain because there's just too many people in this one area to explain. So they're dividing up the people. Some are going to stay with Brutus, some are going to go with Cassius in order to talk about it. First plebeian says, "I will hear Brutus speak." Second plebeian, "I will hear Cassius and compare their reasons when severally we hear them rendered." In other words, we're going to hear these separate reasons and we'll come together and we'll talk through it. Remember, there's no TV or news. It's word of mouth for the most part, and in terms of how things are spread. So Cassius leaves with some of these commoners. Third plebeian says, "The noble Brutus is ascended, silent." So Brutus is a well-respected individual here in Rome, and so they're going to listen to what he has to say. Brutus says, "Be patient till the last." So just listen and hear me out. "Romans, countrymen, and lovers," meaning dear friends, "hear me for my cause, and be silent that you may hear." In other words, shut up so I can talk. "Believe me for mine honor, and have respect to mine honor, that you may believe." So in other words, I want to stand on my reputation. So based on my reputation and my honor, hear so that you can believe what I'm saying. "Censure me in your wisdom." In other words, you're smart enough to know if what I'm saying is true or not. "And awake your senses." So think through this. "You may be the better judge. If there be any in this assembly, any dear friend of Caesar's, to him I say that Brutus's love to Caesar was no less than his." So if any of you here cared about Caesar, I cared about him more. We were friends. All right? Interesting friendship, right? "If then that friend demand why Brutus rose against Caesar, this is my answer." So if you're a friend of his and you want to know why, here's why. "Not that I loved Caesar less, but that I loved Rome more." So my love for Rome was greater for my love for Caesar, so therefore I had to get rid of Caesar because I loved Rome so much. "Had you rather Caesar were living and die all slaves than that Caesar were dead to live all free men?" So this argument, what I want to pay attention to is it's a black or white. It's one or the other. In other words, if Caesar was alive, you are slaves. If Caesar is dead, you're free. So which would you want? Really not too much choice that he's giving them, right? "As Caesar loved me, I weep for him. As he was fortunate, I rejoice at it. As he was valiant, I honor him. But as he was ambitious, I slew him." So in other words, I don't discredit the positives about him, but his negative was so overwhelming that he had to die. So because he was ambitious, he wanted too much power. He had to die, right? So next part. "There is tears for his love, joy for his fortune, honor for his valor, and death for his ambition." So I give everything its due, but ambition, the debt for ambition was death. "Who here is so base or so low?" Like who's such a scumbag that would be a bondman, that you want to be a slave? "If any speak, for him have I offended." Again, so this is his argument. If you're this way, then I've done wrong. So if you are so base or low that you want to be a slave, then I've wronged you. Who here is so rude, or in other words, ignorant, not like rude like you burp at the table, but rude in terms of just clueless or ignorant, that would not be a Roman? So, if you don't agree with me, you're not a true Roman. If any speak, for him I have offended. Who here is so vile that will not love his country? In other words, if you don't agree with me, you don't love Rome. So it's very much a dichotomy, this or that. If any speak, for him I have offended. I pause for a reply. So what are you going to say? If you are ignorant, if you're an idiot, if you don't love your country, then speak up now. Otherwise, you agree with me, right? A real one side or the other argument. So of course everyone says, none, Brutus, none. Brutus says, then none have I offended. I have done no more to Caesar than you shall do to Brutus. So if I get like Caesar, if I get overly ambitious, then I should die as well. The question of his death is enrolled in the Capitol. In other words, it's all going to be recorded there. His glory not extenuated, wherein he was worthy, nor his offenses enforced, for which he suffered death. You know, we're going to give him glory where glory is due, and we're going to, talk about his death where death was warranted. Mark Antony then comes in with Caesar's body. Here comes his body, mourned by Mark Antony, who, though he had no hand in his death, shall receive the benefit of his dying, a place in the commonwealth, as which of you shall not. So we're going to all benefit by Caesar's death. Mark Antony's going to benefit. You're going to benefit because you're going to have a part in the say of the government. With this I depart, that, as I slew my best lover for the good of Rome, I have the same dagger for myself when it shall please my country to need my death. So I'm leaving now. Antony's going to speak to give Caesar honor for his death, and I'm going to get killed if I deserve it, just like Caesar did. Everyone, of course, says, live, Brutus, live, live. They don't want him, based on his argument, they don't want him to go anywhere. Bring him with triumph home unto his house. Give him a statue with his ancestors. That was a common practice, was to have a statue if you were powerful. Let him be Caesar. Okay, how is he going to be Caesar? That's actually a title, right? It's a title in government. Fourth plebeian, Caesar's better qualities shall be crowned in Brutus. So based on what he said, they think he's just this noble Roman, that he's did this for the good of Rome. He sacrificed his friend so that Rome could flourish, right? First plebeian said, we'll bring him to his house with shouts and clamors. Brutus, my countryman. Peace, silence. Brutus speaks. Peace, ho. And this is his final couple thoughts here. Good countrymen, let me depart alone, and for my sake stay here with Antony. Do grace to Caesar's corpse, and grace his speech tending to Caesar's glories, which Mark Antony, by our permission, is allowed to make. So he's going to speak. He's going to say good things about him, which we're allowing him to do. We don't want to discredit Caesar for the positive that he did, but he did have to pay the ultimate price. I do entreat you, not a man depart, save I alone, till Antony have spoke. So just listen to what he has to say. First plebeian, stay ho, and let us hear Mark Antony. Third plebeian, let him go up into the public chair. We will hear him. Noble Antony, go up. And so now the scene is set for Antony now to come. Now the crowd does seem to be against Caesar and appreciative of what Brutus has done. But now Antony gets to get up and have a say. Remember, there were a couple conditions. He had to say that he did it by permission. He could speak to Caesar's positive qualities, but he could not blame the conspirators for Caesar deserving to die. So that's what's going to come up in the next video. If you have any comments, questions, or anything you need in the comments below, that would be great. Thank you.